Okay, so for this project, I did research on greetings and whether or not they related to Goffman's concept of face. So, why I chose this topic? I chose it because generally I have an interest in human behavior, why people act the way they do, say the things they do, communicate in the ways that they do, etc., etc. And greetings was something that I had already been thinking about because of past experiences and some thoughts I've been having about it recently because um, I have a job now and I talk to a lot of people and everybody's greeting me and everything like that. And I've never really had been in a situation like that. And it was very interesting to me because I know at least my feelings when I greet people are not um, genuine. Like if I ask some random coworker, like, "Oh, hi, how was your day?" Like I don't actually care about your day. It's just something that I figured was expected of me, and I don't usually say it first. I usually people will greet me first, and I'll be like, "All right, return the favor." Um, but it was just interesting to me because it was like if my feelings aren't genuine and their feelings aren't genuine, why is it going on at all? So that's what this research is for, to figure that out. And the research question generally is what is the purpose behind greetings and does it relate to Goffman's idea of face? So basically, why are greetings so common and so expected in society? And if it if Goffman's face could explain it for me and if it related at all because when initially reading his work it seemed highly probable but you have to prove it. So and the research methods I used is interview. I just interviewed a bunch of people both online and in person. I interviewed um, the people that I commonly saw in person. So my parents, my boss, stuff like that. And then the people I questioned online were just my friends and on Discord, a random debate group I was in. And the reason I chose these methods was in person is beneficial because I get like on the spot, like instant answers. But the online method was also useful because I could get however many answers all in one go. So it was just quick. I also did bring up a conversation I had in the past that related to the topic. A conversation, yeah. Um, because I did experience a time when, um, or a conversation where I talked about my mom about how people were treating me and it was all good. And she mentioned that the specific reason was likely because she was their boss and I'm her daughter. So it was just to make them look good. And I was like, oh, sus. So this is my research. These were the responses to the questions that I asked people. This is everything that they said. So when my parents discussed human connection, manners, and the fact that acknowledging others is taught as socially acceptable, and obviously you want to promote yourself in a way that is socially acceptable in order to fit in. Um, people and she also they also mentioned something that I found interesting, where people are caught up in their own lives. So if it wasn't like socially promoted to conversate with people, people would be more focused on themselves than others, which doesn't exactly relate to the research, but it was an interesting tidbit that she added. Um, Discord, I only got one response on Discord. It was greetings are an enthusiastic opening for conversation or visitation, and if you don't greet people like well enough or in a positive enough way, they think you aren't happy to see them. So I assume this would mean that you would greet people to give yourself the appearance of being happy, or even if you um, whether you are or aren't actually happy to see them, it makes them think or at least know that you are. Um, my other parent, um, said that it was to gain an understanding of the other person's intentions, whether they were generally positive or negative, smiles, and greetings reciprocate friendliness. So it's to let people know that you're not like just upset or you don't want to talk to them. Yeah, and then not greeting people would be like unfriendly, and then it would put people off. And it's like they considered it a habit, an both habit and unspoken social contract. So it was like an expectation and both like offhand, um, which I did take those words into consideration along with other people who also mentioned uh, it's just for building human connection, and it's just manners, and it's just expected, and it's like um and then they said it makes a good impression, um and they also mentioned considering outliers like people who manipulate. So um but even that is a form of face by itself, because you to manipulate others you have to put on the face of something very specific so that you can get away with it and just do it successfully. And but overall, it just seemed like a lot of the time it's just socially correct to do so. Um, I got the two responses on Snapchat from my friends, and the first one was to announce our presence and let people know we're open to conversation, and it makes us seem approachable and friendly, which small basic makes sense. And then my other friend on that group said it was an opportunity to increase the favorable impression of yourself and establish a relationship between you and the others around you. And she also mentioned that it was a frequent greeting is a way to increase your social status, which I guess makes sense because the more you talk to people, the more they like you, and then you build those connections, and then you can move up in whatever the situation is, whether it's social or work related. It makes you seem extroverted and confident instead of like reserved and like I don't want to talk to you or what shy. And I actually talked to my boss about it too, and he said it was good manners, just generally good manners to let people know you're nice and you like them, whether you actually do or don't, doesn't matter. And he also mentioned that from the view of an employer, and he works at a school, so it's not like a classic customer service place, but he also mentioned that it was good for customer service. It makes people comfortable and like think good about you and your overall workplace. So it benefits all of them, everyone. Um, but yeah, so based on all this, I did acknowledge that the initial responses were mainly focused on acknowledging the other person, and it was like for the other person. But really, the more I thought about it, the more I was able to connect it to Kaufman's idea of face, because like um if you just do it to be deemed as acceptable, whether it's genuine or not, in its own way, that's just you putting on a face of being socially acceptable and like caring about other people. And even if you don't, so it's just a way to make you seem like you care, even if um, it is subconscious. And it is good because one concept that Goffman talked about was keeping the face of other people around you, and um, greetings and like considering the other person is a part of that, because it helps you help them keep their face by giving them the opportunity to be the same back to you, and then you view them in that way. But yeah, and why I did or why is this important? Why should you care? It just generally provides further understanding of human behavior, and it also provides supportive evidence towards Goffman's idea. So it's like you don't just read it and then like throw it away offhand like it doesn't mean anything, or like he was wrong, or like it doesn't make sense, because it does, at least in this situation. So by proving that greetings were related to his idea of face, I supported his findings as well. Yeah.